With the benefit of hindsight, it's easy to see how truly special Avatar: The Last Airbender was. A perfect storm of good writers, talented animators, and studio support that turned out one of the all-time greats. Its own direct sequel, Legend of Korra, didn't equal it. The upcoming live-action Netflix series
will more than likely be a case of life imitating meme.
And The Dragon Prince definitely does not reach that high watermark, even though it comes from one of Last Airbender's co-creators. Two major flaws drag down this otherwise promising series. The first is world building. Starting with the biggest world-shaping event, the upcoming war between elves and humans. So, on the continent of Xadia, long ago, humans started using dark magic. More on that plot point in a moment. Then, centuries later, humans killed the Dragon King and his yet-to-be-hatched son. And honestly, I'm not sure why any of that was done. Now, stories like Star Wars, or hell, Avatar: The Last Airbender, can get away with wars that don't have good explanations because one side is clearly the bad guy. For Dragon Prince, because the story follows a group of very young characters, they might have gotten away with not really explaining it because the main characters don't really understand.
That would also have gotten rid of the boring exposition dumps from the adults.
The next major world-building fail is the concept of dark magic. In the fantasy world of Xadia, there are 7 sources of magic and only one of them requires sacrificing magical beings. The other 6 being, as far as we know, completely harmless. So why use dark magic at all? The evil mage Jafar stand-in guy gives a defense of the practice, but honestly it's pretty weak. Also, according to the opening narration,
unreliable as it may be,
all of humanity was exiled because of dark magic. The reason why a lot of this important backstory stuff isn't well explained is pretty much down to Dragon Prince's length. It's really short. You can easily blow through it in a weekend.
And still have plenty of time for healthy exercise and outdoor activity.
Ew. Gross. Better yet, more video games. The other major problem is the animation. Not the art design really, the characters and world look just fine, but it's the way things move. Multiple times I thought my internet was chugging like a fraternity pledge, but in reality, the show's just choppy in places. According to the creators, they were trying to use 3D tools to achieve something with the detail of 2D. Now, I have no idea why they didn't just make a 2D show if that's what they wanted.
Budget, studio meddling, misplaced ambition.
Whatever the case, at the end of the day, show's choppy, bro. Now that those 2 major flaws are out of the way, let's look at the strengths of Dragon Prince. One of its biggest is something it shares with Last Airbender and Korra. It has a charming cast of characters. The 3 main leads are all likable, with clearly differentiated personalities and skill sets. Likewise, the main villain, who could easily have been portrayed as mustache-twirlingly evil, comes off as recognizably human.
Even if he's still cartoonishly evil.
This extends to his kids/henchmen, both of whom are likable. And this will no doubt all be very heartbreaking when we reach some kind of a climax. The supporting cast is sadly underutilized, considering the amount of personality every character has. Now, let's look at the art design. I have to say, what Dragon Prince chooses to put on screen is consistently pretty good looking.
As long as it ain't moving, that is.
The world of Xadia is filled with sweeping vistas, castle fortresses, and other well-realized fantasy locations. The characters are appropriately cool-looking, and all the fantasy creatures look good, especially the elves. I really like giving them horns. It differentiates them from all the other types of elves out there. Finally, let's talk comedy. Much like Avatar, Dragon Prince has a great sense of humor. There's slapstick and physical comedy, but also humor from dialogue and character interactions. Okay, now it's time to break down the good and the bad in Dragon Prince. On the good side, the characters, heroes, villains, and random plebs are all brimming with charm and personality. The art design is cool, and helps sell the fantasy world. Finally, the show has the comic chops to get you to laugh when it needs you to. On the downside, the world building is weak, mostly due to length restrictions. And the animation is strangely choppy. These two big factors noticeably hurt the show, so I give Dragon Prince a 3 out of 5. Now, if you're interested in more reviews of anime, movies, TV shows, comic books, or video games, check out my channel right here on YouTube, and find my Facebook and DeviantArt pages for video updates and more. Thank you for watching.
Hey kids, today's show is brought to you by the letter 4 and the number potato! I'm a stupid private.